Well, we are into the second part of the hour here in Morning at NTV, and it's at this opportune time that we take on our Kickstarter. My name is Priscilla Regina Naloga, pleased to be in your company. Now, this morning we're looking at the 2023 PLE results set for release anytime now. The pressure is high for students, for parents, but also for schools and the education sector overall. So we get to have an overview of the education sector, how it's been momentously performing post-COVID-19, and of course the examining reforms in Uganda's education system. The backbone of it is that around this time every single year, except for the COVID-19 season, the Uganda National Examination Board does release PLE results. Now you do have the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, set to release those results as of today officially at Nakasero State House, and this signals the start of the 2024 academic year, and that means that the education system is now going to pick momentum thereafter, and the next thing you know, it will be back to business as usual. First term, second term, pressure of doing PLE for 2024 again, and the cycle does continue. But those that are part of this cycle, day in, day out, month in, month out, year in, year out, are here to give us their insights on this conversation. Join me to welcome Owek Kyewalabye. We are so glad to have you, Mr. Male, Director, Gombe Schools. And Gombe Schools is one of those schools when we were growing up. Alternatively, Gombe must be the alternative. You're most welcome, Owek Kyewalabye.
Thank you very much. Good morning, viewers.
Okay, next to him we do have the Vice-Chancellor of Victoria University, Mr. Muganga. You're most welcome and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too, Priscilla. Good morning, viewers. Thank you for tuning in. And you talked about Gombe. I remember giving it a choice.
You see?
High school.
Yes. Mr. Mugwanya is also joining us for this conversation. It's a pleasure to have your company here.
Thank you so much. Good morning, viewers. My name is Mugwanya Christopher, a proprietor, Clever's Origin Schools, and the National Treasurer of our association called PPEIAU, Proprietors of Private Education Institutions Association in Uganda. I may be free to say Happy New Year to all educationalists, because this is our 31st December of last year.
Yeah. Okay, that's definitely has officially started. Now, speaking of last year, I would like to first have a reflection of the year 2023. It's the second year of stability as far as education restoration to the default setting is concerned. And in your reviews, what have been the opportunities, the misses, and the challenges? I'll start with the Owek Kyewalabye.
Thank you very much. One, I have to first do a disclaimer. We have the Gombe Secondary School in Butambala. That's another one from the Gombe Schools. But because of the hype of maybe of our schools, because we're a set of schools right from Scooby-Doo International School, Gombe Junior School, which is a day and boarding, and St. Andrew Kagwa, Gombe High School in Kawala, and another one in Bujuko. And of course also Jimmy Sekasi Business Institute. So because of maybe of that concentration, I think we are trying to a little bit to shadow, overshadow the traditional one, but we also 10 years in education, and we have that vibrance right from kindergarten up to tertiary. When we look at 2023, I think that's when the year when we had a bulk of learners moving after COVID, and I think quite a number of secondary schools received quite a bulk of students, because that's when we could see almost parents merging 3 classes, P5, P6 and P7, all of them became P7 and many were pushed to sit. So that's why most secondary schools received a bulk of learners more than probably they will receive this year. Of course, it's an opportunity. Whenever you have numbers coming in, I don't think it should be a challenge. It should be a good opportunity. And you know, there are also good problems in the society. So that was quite an opportunity that quite a number of learners were able at least to reorganize their academic system, and they are now in secondary schools. But also even in the lower primaries, again, those who are still at home also now be able to be offloaded into the primary schools. I think it was quite an opportunity. Also, it also gave the educationists to innovate, because when you are having 3 classes integrated almost in one, you have got senior ones who are just have skipped some classes in the primary, and these are the kind of innovations. And probably, as we talk later on in the program, the new curriculum is the best to address that kind of situation. That's what the challenge, the opportunity I take from the 2023.
Okay.
Of course, the other challenge, when there was a lot of noise on the fees increment, that was quite a big debate, largely among the parents, but also in the parliament. But of course, it was a little bit an over-amplified discussion. People are failing to understand the realities of the schools. If you close an institution, even if it's your own house, and you stay away for just 3 months, when you come back, there's quite a lot of work you need to do. And these schools, we are having 2 years closed down, nobody coming to the rescue, the banks are on our heads, everything, the food prices have gone up, things have changed, and people expected the schools to remain the same. So it really had that unfriendly bashing from every corner, but it's understandable. Whenever you go, you always want to bargain. That's why for the supermarkets, just put the tags on the products. There's no chance to bargain. You just pick and leave. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Vice-Chancellor, let's hear from you as far as the education sector is concerned. You've been very pronounced 2023, and so we would like to know what have been your opportunities, your challenges, and of course the missions.
Thank you very much, and I just want to take this very opportunity to thank these 2 gentlemen, Owek Kyewalabye Male and Mr. Mugwanya, and others like them. You know, I always tell people that education makes or breaks the country. When you see a person passionate about education, and they have gone beyond the passion. It is one thing to have the passion. Everyone is born with passion, but having the drive to live that passion, it is something commendable. Now they've gone ahead to even invest their resources into education. So that is what this country should commend them for, and all of us. So gentlemen, I really, really thank you for that service to this country. And of course, I come from a university, Victoria University. I never cease to thank, as we went through last year, thank all the parents who have really, really entrusted us with their children and young people or adults who have chosen to pursue their higher education with us. It is our resolve and commitment that we will always deliver higher education that works for this country. So now, let's begin with the opportunities that we really, really saw in this country. One, for me, he talked about the competence-based education curriculum. To me, that is one amazing start that we recognized or saw happen in the history of this country. And yes, the implementation may be still wanting, and people may not be very prepared. But I always tell people, if you are confronted with a choice to have a meeting with a dead man and the one who is in a coma, you rather have a meeting with the person who is in a coma, because there is hope this person will wake up. So this one, yes, it is not, we are not prepared enough, but it is a very good start. To us, I see that as one of the biggest opportunities that have really happened in this sector. And of course, hearing also the country now beginning to pay attention to education affairs, raising the plight of teachers. All these, to me, are opportunities that now we are beginning to talk. Seeing the Education Policy Review Commission being set up, appointing commissioners and the chairperson of that commission, and they are doing the work, they are continuing to consult different people. It is giving us hope that maybe one day, the education in Uganda will reach that promised land. So those are opportunities. Now, if you asked me some of the challenges in the sector, these are always too many. In the higher education sector, we got to be baptized as people who are churning out graduates with expired degrees. That came to haunt the sector too, as much as that was wrong. Okay, wrong baptism. There is no degree that expires. It doesn't happen. It was a misuse of different words, where someone was supposed to be due for review, say expired. No, it doesn't happen. So I correct it even today. So now the other thing is that I get disappointed and hurt that every day the most important, during COVID we were being told some people, workers were important. There's that name, essential workers.
Essential workers.
Yes, the most essential worker that we have in this country, the teacher, being underpaid. Actually, underpayment is, even not a right word to use. These are people we send our children for 8 hours if they are day scholars. In other words, we avoid our children and we send them to these people for 8 hours. And if they are in a boarding school, then that is even worse, for months. Just imagine, I have failed to take care of my few children. You expect a teacher to take care of 300, 500, and you pay them peanuts. It is so challenging, hurting, and it should be a resolution for everyone, every leader from all walks of life in this country. I'm not going to apportion blame to anyone, to just one person. All of us, we should be putting in that advocacy for a teacher to be at least essential worker number 3 in this country, and even the payment should look like that, right? So that's one challenge. The other one is also the mindset that continues to really be embedded in the minds of parents, that grades are so important. Okay? Like now, parents today, they are so anxious today.
Yes.
They are waiting for, if my child can really secure a first grade. Some of them who are even Christians are fasting. That a miracle can happen, my child can get a first grade.
Yeah.
And and those who will not get them,
yet seeds were already sowed.
Exactly. The parent will go back home saying, my son, my daughter is a failure. I have very good news for you. Those do not mean so much on any of your children's life. Because whatever is going to happen in life has nothing to do with a first grade. And for your information, 98% of what we study in this current curriculum in this country, okay, even elsewhere in the world, it is research, they are not my words, we never get to use it in real life. So if that is true, then why do you worry about a first grade? So it is something we should actually be obsessed to change in this country. And I have hope that mindset, one day soon, it will change, and we'll now look at, we'll now start looking at learning happening, competences. My child, when they went to primary 7, they came back with this, they can do this, they mastered this, they can even actually demonstrate it. That's what we are looking at, not that letter A or D1 or what or anything. So those are challenges that still dominate in this sector. And not even primary level, secondary level, university. We know very well that employers are not looking for your first classes or second class lower. They are looking for what you can do to solve the problems they have on a daily basis. Even if these are employers of teachers. They don't just look at, okay, yes, you got greater grades in your specialties, but can you do the job? That's what they are looking for. Competencies.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, that leaves us with Mr. Mugwanya. That's a very task that you have equally too, from your perspective, and also, from the body's perspective. What is the take home from 2023? Opportunities, misses, as well as challenges.
Okay. Thank you very much. Once again, I want to thank PPEIAU, the organization of the private schools, for entrusting me to represent them here. I'm now seated with Owek Kyewalabye and Doctor, who is me from Akala Matendo Namtamba, also thank the management of NTV for this program. I also begin with challenges. Challenge number one, which was stated it, many parents thought that maybe COVID was to be a continuous problem. So when the schools were reopened, even the ones who had a child in P4 wanted to use that opportunity to send that child to P7 to sit, so that is not locked out. So there was brain draining to us, some of us who are in primary. Whoever could read and write was made to sit for P7 because since they did with primary PPEIAU sitting, you don't need any record before. With the second round, I'm sure that problem was not there. They were made to sit for those dead years, but in primary there was brain draining. So the children we have been having in P7 2023, teachers had to work hard to measure the standards of UNEB. Another challenge I think it is a very big challenge. The phasing out, closing out of the PTCs and whatever. As we talk now, there are no teachers, no training of teachers. I think it is going for 3 years, and many teachers are retiring. Every day they clock the 60 years. So, and parents are busy producing. So we have no teachers coming in. Parents are producing.
Influx of students here.
We are having that problem, I think.
So universities are not graduating teachers?
No, the teacher training colleges who used to get certificates. So for the last 3 years, they are not enrolling. Meaning they're only leaving diploma holders. And yet primary, you get teachers right from PTCs.
Yeah, but can't you get a graduate?
That is a process.
The system,
yes.
But that's a debate for another day. We'll come back to that debate. Mr. Mugwanya, please
that means
continue.
that we shall be needed to use graduates.
Yes.
And with the private school, you know, using a certificate holder and a graduate, you know what it means.
And the training is different.
Yeah, even the training is very, very different. I think the government has to think about that. If a senior 6 can be a president, according to the requirements, why not a P2? Why do you want a P2 teacher or P1 teacher to be a graduate? So that is a very, very big challenge. And then opportunities, I think, amidst of all those challenges, I think our reasoning is sharpened. One of the reasons that's why Africans are not so much innovative, because of the limited challenges. The more challenges, the innovation is sharpened. So that's then another opportunity in 2023 is the introduction. I think it was introduced 2019, but it has kept on growing. Introduction of the new curriculum. It's not yet in the primary, but we are just praying that is also brought down. Like the doctor has been saying, instead of people fasting grade and grade, I want a 4, you find somebody crying.
Because either it still has to feed now into the new secondary,
it should have studied in primary.
So the distortion in the education sector is another challenge for you.
Not to even cut you short. You know what is even bothering us? We have it running now. Okay, not so smoothly, but it is running in lower secondary. But these people are sitting senior 4. I think this coming this year. But no university is prepared to receive such
that lot. Students. Yes, but university still has time. It's the lower the primary side that really needs to catch up and match up, so that there is not that distortion, especially for the end beneficiary, which is the student and the people themselves.
That's good.
Yes,
all right. Well, we definitely have a lot of challenges and opportunities that have been presented, but I think innovation is one of them. That post-COVID-19, at least as proprietors and parts of the education system, there's been an element to push you outside the usual box and be more innovative and creative on how to extend education to the greater masses. And also the new curriculum under the Ministry of Education is one that was received with joy and gladness. Now PLE is before us, and we want to look at how that is going to transform 2024 as far as the education sector is concerned. That conversation to those later on a bit. We'll start with today is the D-Day. The results are about to be released any time now, there's a lot of pressure, but I'm pretty sure the pressure is also high. Watch Tiwa may look calm here, but he's wondering how many first grades are we registering this year? Is it a better performance? Or if it's not a better performance, how do we explain to the parents and things like that? And so Tiwa, what is the pressure like for you as one who is directly into the education sector?
Personally, I don't have the pressure.
Oh, we need a nurse to determine.
take the pressure.
I don't have the pressure because one, I don't believe in that style of education.
Very good.
But it has been put on us because people have those expectations. Some of us are products of not that type of style. I did my primary in Kakuma in Rakai, and by then I think they were around for secondary school. So when you talk about these grades, and we are here in charge of those who are in the running kind of education system.
Very good.
So for me, that's why we believe in a kind of a wholesome type of education. COVID tested us. For 2 years, children were not at school and there were no sittings. So what were they doing at home?
Learning. Still continuing to learn.
We did online.
Yeah.
But practically, the children were useless at home because they had been used now to theoretical kind of education. And there's now at home, there's different work in the lockdown. So, of course, that pressure comes from the parents whom I need to satisfy. Because that's what they expect out of me. At the hospital the other day, I came across a parent and showed me his children. They're in my school, in one of our juniors, and said, I gave you these children, I want them to go to King's College Bundo. And you know what that means? You can't go to King's College Bundo with a second grade. So I have got to satisfy that client. So that's the pressure I have. So we know we normally do our best, but as like a football coach, when the team enters the pitch, I see them on the sideline, but I even don't know whether it makes sense to shout to everyone who's running there, go that way now. The pressure is there because we must satisfy, because we have a contract with the parents to deliver on that, and we must deliver. So that's the pressure I have. But whether that it means a lot, absolutely, I don't think so. What are
some of the systems that you have set up for yourself to be able to, fall back on to ensure that at least all those that are going through the system will be of good quality?
What we practically do, and especially in our schools, and is to ensure that whenever you receive a child, a parent brings a child in his or her own entirety, not a group. That's why you cannot say that all of them performed poorly. The parent is concerned about his child only, so you can never make that statement. I know some people do it. This year UNEB did what, but the parents are not concerned about that. Just about. So what we normally do is just to ensure that you embrace all other curriculum-based things, because normally we focus on the classroom-based. But for us, our realization, that's our experience, the outside curriculum enhances the classroom curriculum. If I take a child to play football, there are so many skills somebody is getting.
100%.
Decision making. I'm a footballer myself. I must know I have got 1 second to receive a ball and know where to give it. And I must know where my opponent is. It's that kind of awareness. When I take that child to a class, I've got some learners, the guys children we started with in primary, we taught to play music. These guys went up to the high school. Right now they have got their own band. Their colleagues who are still continuing with the formal education. Even these ones are now at university. But they have got their own band. So now that's the kind of education which makes us happy. But of course some parents are not for that. Parents would fight with a child found singing in the choir. Sakuleta kuyimba. Sakuleta kusamba mupira. So we have to balance that. We do it. Sometimes actually I normally keep telling parents that this is not a parent school. We are doing what's best for the child. So if for you did your part, can you allow us to develop a child into what will be best carry? A parent would want a child who is just 3 years old to go to P1 and say, are you real? Says, but cannot connect the blackboard and the book.
Okay. Mr. Mugwanya, in terms of proprietors, I know you have to make investments where it's worth it, but we see a certain trend that is rather going to be affecting the kind of education which Tibo is talking about, that they're focusing so much on the classroom and the boardroom or the blackboard than focusing on a holistic education system. And so you're seeing a lot of investment in classroom blocks and painting them and getting the teachers, but then they're deleting that element of extracurriculum activities that we used to call it. And how is that affecting the education system that is going to give an output that is going to be received by Victoria University?
Okay, thank you very much. Now, the greatest problem we have with our education today is thinking that education is a business. The ranking, forgetting other values. We just think of chalk and talk. I'm very much against about you, the journalists who rank schools, that this is the best and whatever and whatever.
We don't do the ranking. The ministry does the ranking.
But
they just
report on the ministry and
the ranking is very, very wrong. One's life is beyond, far beyond the whatever the results, because these children are tested within 2 days. You don't know the condition. Maybe a child was sick. We have seen football, even a very good striker may fail to score a penalty.
Very true.
So we should not judge
right
life.
now,
we
do have teams that have stepped out, and you're wondering.
So if we only need to stop thinking that education is a business. We, as proprietors, we also have issues with the government. If you begin taxing education, that means that you are making it a business.
I agree.
That means that I have to pump the children, to get higher grades so that I get more children to be able to meet the taxes and whatever. And that's why I was crying for the new curriculum, secondary, so that it also comes down. We stop ranking children by the 2 days assessment, but we look at other values. That's why those of us, which was said, so those of us who went through Namutam or whatever, we have better values than the children who are produced today. No tolerance, no sharing. You may be driving and you see somebody can't even wait for 2 seconds.
Exactly.
It's very rigid and whatever. Those values, God gave us different talents. Somebody from here, I am a songwriter, I'm good at music. And it's the music that made me get this education.
And this school is very good with the music.
It's music.
Competitive on national level.
I didn't have school fees, the Reverend Father picked me.
Because of
music. But today I'm benefiting the nation. I wasn't doing so well in the class. So we should think of that, the talents. These European countries have developed, they stick very much to the talents. We shouldn't. And parents, don't blame your children. I saw a parent blaming a child had scored 5. He expected a 4. A parent was almost hating the whatever. There are some other values we should think about. That's why the government made the 4 grades. First grade, we cannot be the same. We cannot think the same way. We shall never be equal. Our work today, as they list the results, we should thank God, because there are those ones. If you check the numbers that registered in P1, very many have dropped out. If ours have been able to register and the results are out, we thank God. Somebody has scored the 2nd grade. It is great, because there are those ones, I think, these 740 something who sat, you may realize that about a very good number has failed. If yours has scored a 2nd grade, why don't you thank God? Not everyone will score a 4, not everyone will score a 1st grade and whatever. That's why the ministry made all those 4 grades, and whoever passes in any of them has passed. So that's the way I think. We should not think of grade 4. And I'm against, I don't think that God can make that mistake. One school and push on those ones who get 4. No more passing has to have all the grades. According to me, no more we shall never be equal.
Yeah, that's true. Even the figures are not equal, but they're in the same heart, right? And collectively they get to do the same thing and move things forward. Speaking of moving things forward, Doctor, according to research, you do have Uganda's literacy rate having increased from 71%, and that is in 2006. 15 years later, we have only moved to 78%. And so it's quite disturbing how slow progress we are as far as literacy levels. Even our neighbors in Tanzania, within the same time frame, when you look at 2008 and 2021, for them they've moved a very, very big stride from 67%, now they're over 80%. And so it begs the question, for a country who, which Tiwa said, had and we believe still has a better education system within the region, competitive across the region, what is feeding this poor literacy level?
Okay, great. Thank you very much. You know, before I even talk about the literacy rates, you know, today my day has been made. The best day I have ever experienced as an educationist is today. Sitting between two prominent actors in the education sector, you can't fault them. They have seen it, they are doing it on a daily basis, but agreeing that a grade, it is useless. And parents, if you're there and you're about to really shout at, like, you start really blaming your child for getting a 6 or something that you think they failed, you have heard it from the horse's mouth. These are prominent who understand education. You stop purchasing grades. Don't buy grades. Buy competencies. You know, and you can't fault them. They are ready to educate in a very good model. But the model we have today dictates that they should educate like that. They know what is right. Okay? Owek Kyewalabye has told you that clearly, that for me, I have to serve the interest of the parent. He's my client. Wants a first grade. Whatever, even if it means teaching past papers, I will teach past papers for this student to get a first grade. And now you're asking why the literacy rates are not growing. They are going to remain stagnant. Why? Because we are teaching to the test. We don't care about what happens around this child forever, or the life they will live after P7, after senior 4, after senior 6. We care about the grade they will get here and now. So if we can move away from what Mr. Mugwanya is talking about, we start implementing a curriculum that makes sense, a curriculum that infuses doing, allowing a child not to simply cram, memorize but also to do something with what they know, such that even if a child dropped out of primary 7 today, they would still know that I can make a cup and I will survive on that skill. Right? But if you are just teaching people, roll them over as if you're manufacturing goods, waiting for clients to come, and we don't have actually clients to demand them. You understand? So that is, but hearing educators say that, because he's right. For him, he set up schools using the framework that was approved and assented to by government. If he did otherwise, actually he would be doing an illegal activity. Okay? He's doing what is legally provided by law. But in the lives of these children, it is actually malpractice because it does not add value. For a parent waiting for 4, now whatever is being done today, literacy levels don't do what? Don't add up. They're not going to grow. Now look, we are talking about how do we measure literacy, whatever levels. We are looking at reading, writing, what else?
I think
prominently. But do you really in real life, are we really, and even it's reading, writing, so are we really now let me tell you about writing. Today, look at what we are doing. We work, all the kids they are waiting for, and for him to be looked at as the best performer as an education entrepreneur, these students have to have very good first grades. Okay? The many first grades he gets, the more money he will get.
The more money is going to attract.
Exactly. For him, because parents are buying grades. The more money his proprietors are going to do what? To get. Because parents are busy. You dare get failures like more than first grades. No one will bring their kids well.
No one.
because the mindset has been set like
and
that.
Starting next week,
Yes.
some parents will go to school as early as 4 a.m. in some secondary schools, now to line up for places.
Bench for
Yes.
places.
For those best schools,
You see,
4 a.m.
those who got 4 a.m. Yet we know, if you know the problems Uganda has today, and the first grades we have ever gotten in this country, we are not supposed to have problems if they were working. But let me tell you a very simple example. These kids in P7 sat the exam, PLE, and others in Senior 4 sat another UCE. Senior 6 sat USCE. All of them concentrated on a table and applied the skill they have learned best, how to handwrite. Finished a booklet, 2 hours, a primary, I think those are 2 hours, an exam, okay, for 2 days. They are tested for the last 7 years. Then Senior 4, they sit, an exam is 2 hours or 3 now.
2.5.
2.5.
Yeah.
Then for the last 4 years. Senior 6, 3 hours, right? Again, they write and write and write until pens even get rid of ink. Now, come to university. Most universities, again, they start their writing syndrome. Again, handwriting. Now, when they come to the job market,
there's no writing.
the supervisor is telling, I need a report that is typed. No one has ever infused in any school
Typing skill.
the other literacy, which is now technology competence, like typing and everything, a skill that is needed. They will tell you no one expects a report from their employees that is handwritten. But we are infusing a skill of handwriting within our kids, and we are busy waiting for first grades. You know what I mean? So that is the most dangerous situation, and we can't even ask why our literacy levels are keeping this low until we stop this malpractice of crafting a curriculum that is actually keeping a child in the classroom. The way Mr. Male has put it, or Mr. Mugwanya is yearning for the new curriculum to come to primary. The competence, you know, the competence based is not about how much time you have spent learning a particular concept. It is the mastery, the skills. And then once you demonstrate those, you can move forward. And now someone can tell a story about this child, that much as in mathematics, this person can actually add this properly and this, but they are still struggling with subtraction. As a parent, now you know where to intervene. There is a story. Okay, you know that during holidays, I'm going to help this child actually do this area, even if it means hiring someone to help them. But right now, when you look at a number or a letter, how do you help your child? 71%. 71%. What, you don't know what the other 29% is. Okay? And someone is celebrating that my child has 80%. You don't know that actually the 20% is going to let them down for the rest of their lives. So we need a curriculum, competence-based learning in primary, secondary, senior 5, senior 6, and university.
And I think we are the whole education sector, and I'm happy the government is now trying to address these things. We do some of the things that people don't understand us. I'm one of those that in our schools we refused it, giving children homework.
Thank you very much.
On weekends.
Yes.
Because I wish I could.
Because because the first thing is, what assurance do I have that the parent knows what I've given this child to go and support?
Right.
That's the first thing. 2, but when will they have a chat with a parent to discuss on other things? Because when you make the home again a classroom setting, you destroy the structure of a home very much. So for us, we say on a weekend, because those are 2 days, but in the week the child came to school at 7. He's reaching home at 7, and now he has the homework. So when is the home going to function?
And this is a very interesting
and we have done it, and they are still passing.
I have seen it with people that parents will pick up their children from school. Immediately they enter the house like this. Where's your homework? And then they sit them down and do homework. This is going to take another 2 hours. And then after that, shower, eat. And when you turn into a teacher, so the language really and the treatment is different. You are shouting, you are doing what? So the home now becomes another classroom.
And they have to wake up at 5, then you go back.
The cycle starts.
Now, Priscilla, you see what I'm telling you? I am happy that it is these educators speaking. And if you're a parent and you don't learn from this, and there is this saying in Uganda, you blame yourselves. Now that is where, picking from what they're saying, earlier we were talking, I think it was during the break, we were talking about boarding schools. And why I solidly support doing away with boarding schools.
And what you're referring to, just for clarity's sake, is that there's a consideration to eliminate boarding schools at all levels in Uganda.
Now let me tell you, and he has hinted on it, when you look at all of us, we aspire to develop as a country. You begin with yourself, your community, and the entire society. And then, as the entire society, Ugandan society, you develop better than even other societies. So that's what we aspire to. Now look at what we are doing. What he has just said. You pick a child. You take them to Mugwanya's boarding school. Okay? You entrust them with the headmaster. Now he has 1,000 kids plus. You have failed to take care of just 5 or 6. You want Mr. Mugwanya to help you take care of 1,000. Okay? Now, every time you take a child to a boarding school, there is always a timetable, the routine. They have told you. The 5 prep, what, it is defined. Okay? From morning to evening. And those kids spend in that cycle from primary 1, if they were lucky, others will go even in kindergarten, from primary 1 to the last time they exit the education system, university, they go to hostels or where. So they have spent almost 20 years in a confined place in a boarding section, living an artificial life that does not exist in real life. So in other words, you have taken them, the little time they have, they come back home, like Mr. Mugwanya said. Some schools have even given them a package to work on, and the parents, they enroll them to different coaching whatever sessions. Then, now you see, this child knows nothing about their community. Zero. The problems, the opportunities, they know nothing. There's a friend of mine, there's a friend of mine who got their grandkids.
As you wrap it up, because we have more debates in the education sector.
The grandparent had kids visit him, and they had a lot of avocados, like banana leaves. Then they left them outside. This senior one child asked the grandmother, "Mom, our avocados, we are going to sleep, but our avocados are going to sleep outside. Can we bring them inside as well?"
Wow.
So you can understand the magnitude. Now, you expect those people to finish university to come and solve society's problems when you extracted them from a real community and took them to a community that will never exist.
Okay.
To a prison.
All right. It reminds me of still an experience I had recently. Someone lost a sister, and so their children, of course, had to go and bury Omoro district. And so it was their first time to have the visit to, the father's place of origin. And guess what their problem was? There's no Wi-Fi. So their lives stopped because their phones were not functioning. So they were not aware of what was happening. They've lost an auntie, and that should be very sentimental. It should cause them to gain a skill in some way of sympathy and empathy. But Wi-Fi is the when are we going back to the hotel? Like, you see? Yeah, so you do make an argument. The other argument we do have on the table, which Tibo, you mentioned it, is a school fees increment. Yes, arguably made sense post-COVID-19, but we seem to see a trend in every year. Schools, proprietors, you call it businesses, there's always an increase in fees, and every year schools get owners get more creative. Today it's a package payment, tomorrow construction something, the other day it is development fees. Like, you're always adding something, and it is to the parent, it's a business. It's like you're milking money from them, but then the return on investment is still the same.
Yeah, I think that's really quite a kind of a challenging discussion. Of course, we have got those who have overdone it. You see, there's somebody who overdoes it, and somebody who overdoes it overshadows those who are doing it properly. There are some people have seen some schools without any cricket court. They are asked on the list cricket materials, and it's on the list hockey materials, and these children have never.
And they want cash.
So these are some of these things, but they're a little bit outrageous. But I think it's also in terms of the inspectorate departments within our sector which broke down. Some of these things we are blaming the institution, but just the departments of the education sector are not functional. It's like when you find these vets going to check on animals, just to pick a few kilograms, every animal will be certified as okay, as long as the vet
gets some kilograms.
So we just have to, we think there would be a better way of doing it. And we just have to go through those stages, and the Minister of Education has got that procedure. So there are those who have overdone it, but also we must also appreciate that also there are a number of things are changing in the country. We don't have anything stable. Right now we have got a bump harvest of maize. I don't know what the second season will be like, because we have had long rains. And these are things which are a factor within our system. When you check a bag of cement a year ago, how much it was costing, and how much it is costing now. So almost by 6,000 shillings up. So sometimes when we are bashing these schools, we don't look at that side as well. So I think it's just about looking out to those who are overdoing it. There must be a percentage of increment, for instance, regulated, that probably you cannot increase by this percentage. Like when you are renting a house, the landlord cannot just wake up and say, next month I'm doubling your rent. There are some, it's just a matter of developing the guidelines to regulate this kind of environment. Otherwise, people, I tell you, after COVID, banks restructured, and whatever they restructured, they put it back on the institutions. So now, when you are doing business, there is somebody who has got to share with you this type of burden, or otherwise they will close. What the government did, and you cannot share away as it, because I'm also a member of the Private Schools Association, the government abandoned us during that time. They left the banks to pounce on us, because we only needed the government to take care of that type of interest for the 2 years.
All right.
So now when you see these schools, actually many schools, I don't have the number, but I think they are in thousands which never opened.
Never.
And even those which opened up now, which have closed, they are in thousands.
Mr. Mugwanya, as you respond to what Tiva, there's also a proposal to scrap PLE really completely and vocationalize the primary education, overhauling the assessment framework, and also other proposals. And to this day, a few days later or months
before
later.
PLE, though I support it 100%, I want to react to
let's have that reaction as we close.
About the school fees. We as operators of private schools, we think that not even thinking, the reality is that our education is very, very cheap. Because with the government schools, first of all, they take the ones they call very good, the fours and whatever and whatever. The government constructs the classrooms, they pay their teachers, they don't pay income tax and whatever. It comes to private school, they just say, we want a library, we want this, we have to pay your teachers, save them NSSF, which is 10% increment on your expenditure and whatever. And even when the government was suggesting school fees, I think a primary suggested 1.2, second 1.6. Most of our schools charge less than that. So maybe a few, they are very, very few compared to the thousands of schools we have. And about him, I had, however, before scrapping off the boarding schools, we needed to prepare. Because I was talking to him here that many parents are now outside. They went for Cheyo, they are in Biyumba, and the safest best way where they can leave their children are the boarding schools. You leave them with the judges, you find jiggers and whatever, no future at all. But when you leave them in school, then that's so, instead of waking up one morning that the boarding schools are phased off, we need to prepare.
And where they are picking that discussion from,
yes,
you see those areas, like in UK, they cannot allow you to take a child outside your community.
Yes.
True. But they have invested in making good schools within the community.
So let's have Mr. Mugwanya give us the closing remarks. My time is first. Mr. Mugwanya, the last voice.
Thank you very much. Today is a special day. We are waiting for the results. My appeal to you parents, you appreciate the directors, the teachers, the dancing be that we have received back our results, not the grades. Grades add nothing. There are some other values we can put in our children and expectations. I have children who play xylophones, but they calculate, they play in parallel, whatever. In class may be getting 20, but let them give you that. Who is saying that that child is STUPI? If they give you that, you cannot do. So it shall never be equal. Let our dancing be praising God for having our results. And
that machine you are talking about is a sign of a good mathematician, by
definitely.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for your submissions. It's definitely been an engagement discussion, one that has enlightened you and educated you at the same time, and that was our mission of our Kickstarter. We take a short breather, we return with a tech note. Do stay with us.